Buenas noches, Doug. Gracias por estar en el canal. Bienvenido, es un honor. Quisiera poder hablarte sobre tus primeros trabajos. Tienes una carrera increíble y quisiera preguntarte sobre la producción Season to Fear. ¿Qué me puedes decir de su debut?
Pero tienes que confesarle, tú lo has visto todo de él.
Todo, todo. Sí, eso sí.
Okay, dude, welcome. And before we start, Jhon has a confession. He has watched all, all your movies, man. All.
All
I,
your movement.
I'm
I
not
love
lying.
your work and fan in Colombia, man. Fan your work.
Lo
Yeah, man.
siento. Okay. Thank you for watching them. I'm so sorry. I wish they could have
No,
been better. And I appreciate
no,
that.
no, no,
Very nice of you.
no, man. In fact, he's asking you now about, and he always do that. Go to the earliest. What can you tell us about Season to Fear?
That was my first feature film, and I made a lot of mistakes on it. I did the best job I could. That was the film that I put together along with my two partners from film school, Dan Selakovich and Scott Mulvaney, editor and producer, respectively. And we decided that we would make a feature film after getting out of Cal Arts in 1985. We all graduated in 1985. And at the time, most people in Hollywood. So, anyway, at the time in Los Angeles, everybody had a script. Not everybody had a movie. So nowadays, you can throw a rock at a Starbucks and bounce it off the heads of 5 different people who have done films, and maybe even the barista's done a film. So it was a new thing to do an independent film. Not totally new, but it was rare to be able to pull off an independent feature film. And we set our minds to it, and luckily found people who were kind enough to work hard to raise money for it. It was part of the video explosion of the mid 80s. And we luckily got to make a film. And there I was at age 24, directing my first feature film with a 30-day schedule and $1 million budget. And, had all the toys and all the boys and all the elements. The only thing that I didn't have was, to my own detriment, was a screenplay that was full of conflict and was exciting. It was actually, the film came out slow, and it got distributed. MGM UA picked it up and everything. But in retrospect, I use it as an example to teach my students of kind of what not to do. I think I went forward and made a film prior to understanding really what a feature screenplay should be and the pacing of what a feature should be. And boy, did I learn a hard lesson. I learned a hard lesson after that film was made. So that was my first adventure. I'm proud of the cast. I'm proud of the crew. I'm proud of everything that we did. And I'm very, very grateful to the men and women who raised money to make that film. But in retrospect, I should have written a better screenplay, to be honest with you.
Esa Pena Game yo lo vi a los 11 años y eso fue la manera en la que yo empecé a ver distintos tipos de cine, hasta cine erótico y todo eso, porque lo de él era como más, como dice, sexy.
When John was at at the age of 11, Zapped again, he is making a confession. He said that with this movie, he started to watch like all kinds of cinema, like erotic thrillers, all
Okay.
kinds. So anything you can tell about this movie? No, man. In fact, he was telling me the truth that yeah, there are ups, there are downs in your career, but he has watched everything. And in fact, he got a saga that lots. But first, tell anything about Zapped again, man.
Okay, zapped again. Okay, thank you very, very much again for watching these movies. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was an interesting project because I got a phone call from Jeff Burr. And Jeff Burr, do you know who I'm talking about? The horror film director, Jeff Burr. Jeff Burr died.
Rest in peace, no?
Yeah, Stepfather 2.
Yes,
he died 2 days ago. Yeah.
Yes.
He called me up at my father's house and said, hey, the executives at ITC have seen a couple reels of your film, Season of Fear and American Murder. And he said, they were impressed with you. You should go talk to them. And I said, wow, thank you very, very much. So Jeff opened up the door for me to go talk to the executives at ITC. And I did. And I went in there carrying the Goldberg cases, the reels of film for them to project. And they watched the whole movie. And they said, hey, we're doing 2 movies here. We're doing Stepfather Part 2, and we're doing Zapped Again, a sequel to Zapped. And I thought, well, they're not going to ask me to do a comedy because I've not directed a comedy. They're probably going to ask me to do a thriller. So anyway, I was back working at the restaurant. And after what happened with American Murder, Season of Fear, and 6 months later, I get a phone call that they were looking to replace their 40-year-old director with young 25-year-old director Doug. So I replaced their director and came in to direct the film and had like 6 days of prep. And most of the casting hadn't been just finalized yet. And I quickly rose to the occasion and did it. And I was a little bit out of my depth, to be honest, but we did it and it was fun. And my problem, honestly, with that movie was I'm not a teen comedy guy. My idea of a teen comedy was like The Graduate, the Dustin Hoffman, Mike Nichols picture from the 60s, right? I wasn't into those stupid teen comedies. And this teen comedy was pretty damn stupid. I mean, one of the worst scripts I'd ever read, no offense to the good writers who did it, who were nice gentlemen, and based on a sequel. It was a sequel to a movie that I watched, and I thought, wow, this is a really bad first movie. And here I was with the choice of either directing that film or going back to work at the restaurant. So I chose to direct the film, and right or wrong, I did it. Producer Darren Scott, who's now a director, pulled me aside. He said, you don't want to do this movie. And I said, Darren, I don't have much choice. I got to pay bills and I need to work. So I did the film, and I worked with some wonderfully cool actors, Todd Andrews and Kelly Williams and others, and Linda Blair and Lyle Alzado and Karen Black. And they were very, very nice. And we had a good time making it. Jeff Apple, the producer, was very supportive, even though I had replaced his friend and director. And yeah. And I didn't understand. I honestly didn't understand who the comedy was intended for. But the comedy was definitely intended for people who were John's age at the time. It was intended for people who were, say, in middle school and below, not teenagers. So it was really kind of silly and juvenile. And, the idea of telekinetic powers being used to burst women's clothing to see their breasts was the heart of the film. Strange as that may seem, how I ended up on a film like that after doing a father-son story and this dark, twisted, erotic thriller thing. And then I get that. It's like, how did that happen? Well, I think why I got the job was because they thought, oh, he's a young guy. He gets this. No offense to the executives who made that decision. I didn't get it. And I if they were sitting here today, they'd probably laugh. They'd probably say, well, we didn't get it either. Anyway, we made the movie, and Jeff Apple was brilliant as a producer. He understood the market and he understood the genre, and he screened it in a movie theater, and we packed it with kids. And these kids were laughing at things that I never expected them to laugh at. And I was shocked. I was sitting in the back, and I thought to myself, my gosh, they're laughing at things I didn't even think were funny. Oh my gosh, I guess we made a funny movie. And we were this close to getting a theatrical release with that film. And the executives at Nelson Entertainment couldn't reach a deal, but they were thinking, hey, maybe we could go into the theaters with this. So at that point in my life, I might have had a fairly big theatrical release with that film, but they couldn't get the deal right. So it did go straight to video at the time. And I didn't get that magical theatrical release at that time. But it was a fun movie to make. And I went to work to laugh every day. And if you see a bare butt at the end of the film, it's mine. Anyway, and it was a lot of fun to make. Silly, fun, just a good time.
And before I let my friend do the question, it's great to listen again about Jeff Berg. We got people from Leatherface here in the channel.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe this interview be an homage. And I think that Jhon needs to know what is the but at the end, so I will translate that part and later then.
Sure.
Oh, y
Solo te
comen.
diré algo. ¿Te acuerdas el desnudo al final?
Yes, sí, eso es
Es,
verdad.
es él, es él.
Hijo, en serio,
En serio.
no
I'm
lo
telling
puedo
you
creer.
the part of the naked boatman.
Well, I'll
But
tell you
Ah,
why.
what?
I'll tell you why. Is because the costume designer who I ended up dating said, "Hey, there's a lot of female nudity in this movie. Where's the male nudity?" And I said, "All right, I'll I'll contribute to that." So I promptly hid my face and dropped my pants and scratched my butt for the big scratching sequence in the end of the film, and there I was. And whatever, there was me and my 25-year-old butt in the film. So there you have it, for what it's worth.
okay.
Yo,
No, I think it worked, John.
yo te digo, antes de continuar con la pregunta que yo siempre he querido, pero la edición del final, yo no sabía eso, lo del desnudo. Y obviamente cuando vi Seven Again, es porque no, hubo un tiempo que yo estuve fascinado por Kelly Williams. Fue
Ah,
increíble.
Okay.
Kelly
Yes, that's
Williams.
the reason why he watched the movie.
Oh,
The
because of Kelly?
Kelly
yes,
is,
he was
eh,
fascinated.
yes.
You know, she was brilliant then, and she's brilliant now. She just was a real solid actress then and a joy to work with. And I'll never forget, she wrote me a little letter at the end of the movie. She said, "Doug, you have spoiled me for any director." And I think I might have been her second or first or second feature where I was her director. I haven't worked with her or spoken with her since, but I look forward to the day I could work with her again because she was a good soul. Yeah.
I will translate that part. John, creo que fue el segundo director con el que trabajó ella. Le escribió una carta muy linda y esperemos que vuelvan a trabajar. Fingers crossed for you working with her. And John, continúa.
Yo quiero hablarles sobre mi saga favorita, que es Stealthy by Doctor. Mi saga favorita. Mi saga favorita para mí. Yo crecí con toda esta saga. Se la voy a repetir, Doc y Andrés. Stealthy by mi Doctor. Stealthy by mi Doctor Party and Revenge. Stealthy by mi Doctor The Return. Stealthy by mi Doctor A Sleepwalker Nightmares. I love it, saga. I love it.
And
You're
I
very nice.
know
Thank you.
I will pronounce it in the right way. You know, Stalked by Doctor, Painting's Revenge, The Return, and Sleepwalker. And
Yeah.
in fact, John got to hear the amazing Eric Roberts, but tell
Yeah.
us anything because John loves that saga, man.
Okay. Okay. Well, that was an interesting project, or three triple projects. I can't. I think the idea of it was pitched to me, and I wrote it from. I can't remember if it was one of my pitch ideas or if I was handed that. I cannot recall. But regardless, it was my job to write a movie about, you know, a doctor who stalks a patient. Okay. So I had a heart condition. I had a heart attack when I was 42. So I thought, okay, I'll write about a heart doctor. So I started writing about a heart doctor, and I thought, okay, the thing that always fascinated me about doctors was, from what I've heard, they spend a lot of time in medical school. Okay. And they'll go through medical school and they'll get out of medical school in their early 30s. And they've been working so hard to become doctors that they didn't live life, that they didn't go to the they didn't go clubbing with the girls, and they didn't, you know, party with their friends, and they didn't have fun because they were serious. So I thought, well, what if you had a guy who went through all this trouble to get his you know, his MD, and he's socially inept. So the original character was a very socially inept guy in his mid-30s who didn't know how to talk to women and just didn't know about girls at all. So he was, you know, kind of twisted and wrong in how he approached women. Well, originally the character was supposed to be mid-30s, and I thought that'd be fun. Well, at that point, because of issues with the Screen Actors Guild, the company decided to make that film non-SAG. Well, we thought we still needed names back in those days to be in the movie, and there aren't that many name actors who are non-SAG. Well, Eric Roberts happened to be one of them. So, okay, let's go to Eric Roberts. And I said, well, that's going to change the script immeasurably because this guy's now going to be 65 rather than 35, or 55 rather than 35, which is a big, big difference. Like, well, all right, just change it. So we did. And then, all right, we're going to meet Eric Roberts. Okay. So we met him at a sound studio. Me, the casting director, and the producer, we went over to meet him and say hello, just a meet and greet, because, you know, that's a kind of a customary thing that you do. And I said to him, I said, Eric, I think I'm going to have a problem working with you. And he goes, why is that? I said, because I think in the middle of making this film, I'm going to do my impression of you as Buck in Runaway Train. And he leaned back in his chair. He says, okay, well, let's see it. And I went, yo, Manny, I gotta get some motherfucking socks, Manny. I gotta get some motherfucking socks. And he goes, no. That's not how it goes. He goes, yo, Manny, I need some socks. Give me some socks, brother. So he was doing an imitation of him playing Buck in Runaway Train, you know, in 1985, off of my impression of him. And that's the good spirit that Eric is. He loves making films. He loves being on set. He loves talking about movies. He's the kind of guy that likes to sit down with the grips and the electricians at lunch and just shoot the shit. He's a good guy in that regard. And he is fun to work with. So let's just leave it at that. And I was lucky enough to do 3 movies with Eric Roberts. And, you know, it was an experience. And he brings a good childlike sort of love for the craft every day he comes to work. Let's just say that. And I'll leave it there.
And he's such a sweetheart. This is a small channel, and he has been here in the channel twice.
I know.
So much love for Eric Robert.
Yeah,
I need to translate, but I won't do the imitation. I don't do it. I don't interrupt Nepal. No, I don't do it in the right way. The impression from Jhon, es que tienes que saber. No haré la imitación, obviamente, pero Jhon, todo sucedió porque Dude pasó por una situación que lo hizo ir al doctor. Jhon, adivina, el personaje principal es que él averiguó que los doctores no tienen mucha vida. El personaje principal iba a tener 30 años y todo cambió cuando hubo una huelga de actores. Él dijo, oh, no hay muchos actores de nombre, o sea, tú sabes, lista que puedan aceptar hacer eso. Eric aceptó, pero él dijo, en la mitad dijo, Eric, pero él se proyectó a tener un problema. ¿Cuál? Que en la mitad de la película yo voy a tener que imitarte haciendo Runaway Train, y él lo imita y él error y le dice, no, así no es así, amigo. Y pues, Jhon, ahí se cumplió. Es más, creo que las 3 de donde sale él son las mejores, ¿cierto? De la saga.
Sí, man.
¿Cuál es su
Todas.
favorita?
Para mí es la primera. Siempre será la primera.
Ok, haz la pregunta y le digo eso.
Bueno. Well, the fun thing, another thing about that movie, and he said it best, Eric did. He goes, I'm the only guy who'll do this, as far as getting really kind of being a twisted, broken bad guy who would fall in love with an 18-year-old girl and obsess over her. He goes, you're not going to get other name actors to go to this dark, twisted place. He goes, but I will. And I went, you know what? You're right. It is challenging. You are, you know, one of the few that will do it. And so that was fun working with him. And then also to give credit, the cast, the surrounding cast around him was top notch. And, you know, they were able to deal with that whole situation, especially the women he had to work with, which is strange for them. And they had such good professional attitudes toward it all, you know, and threw themselves into the work. And, you know, having a romantic scene with somebody who's, you know, old enough to be their grandfather. And we played on that joke a lot. But kudos to them, to the actors and the actresses who dealt with the strangeness of that whole series of films. So I give them a lot of credit too, and a good cast and a good crew, and you know, it was a lot of fun to make. So, or I look at them like all 3. You know, there's kind of like one big job. So,
and as Eric told to us, he don't play. He say in his word, I don't play bad guys. I play guys that think that the things they're doing are the right, but they're totally wrong. But they feel that they're doing the. He doesn't play bad guys. He told us
No,
like that.
that's
No,
right.
amazing.
Well, you know, and when you write a villain as a writer, you don't write a bad guy either. You write a character who needs something desperately, and they just happen to be, you know, a little bit askew. But you have to invest in them like any actor would. Any actor would do that and say, "I'm not really the bad guy. I just need this thing, and I am justified in wanting it." And then they can bring a reality to the character, and the writer has to do that, and the actor has to do that. So yeah, he's just a solid actor in that regard, and he always gave it. He always gave, and gave the did a fine job with that role, and I think that'll be the movie in later in life that he's going to be remembered for. It's funny, they're like the younger Eric Roberts is going to get remembered for Pope of Greenwich Village and Star 80, you know, and Runaway Train, but the older Eric Roberts is going to get remembered for this because it was so funny. And we found a sense of humor with the whole thing, and I try to inject as much humor as I possibly can into these things. So that was fun, and he went along with the jokes, so that was good to do, you know. Anyway,
And I will ask Jhon. And I will ask Jhon if he thinks that that will be the role, because Jhon is a. I don't know how I watch a lot of movies from him, but Jhon watch more movies from Eric.
yeah, yeah.
But Jhon told me the favorite of the saga is the first one. But I will ask, Jhon, acá nos está diciendo Dude algo muy importante. ¿Tú estás de acuerdo o no? Dice que la película por la que van a recordar a Eric Roberts, obviamente, el Eric Roberts joven, pues tú sabes, ¿no? El Papa de Greenwich, que es
Sí,
tu favorita,
Yeah.
Runaway Train, pero él dice que la película por la que más lo van a recordar, ya el Eric, así como está ahora, es Stalked by Doctor, ¿sí
sí,
o no? Porque
siempre.
es muy divertido, muy bueno. John agree. That will be the movie
I
that
agree,
Eric
man.
will be
That they
remembered.
remember him for. Yeah, yeah. Isn't that ironic? Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Anyway, so
No, he deserves to be remembered, and you deserve to be also remembered for directing.
oh, I don't know. I hope I can remember something else. Anyway,
No, man.
thank you. I appreciate that.
John was like, we are going to interview Dude, and I was, because I only translate, but John, no, I watch everything. For Dude, man, I need you to be here to translating. Okay, it's okay. So
Okay. All right. Well,
a
that's
fan.
very nice of him.
This is an interview for a fan.
Muchas gracias. Okay.
Bueno, tengo dos
No,
últimas.
John, esas gracias son para ti, ¿no?
Ah,
Por ser el fan.
thank you, man. Tengo dos últimas preguntas y es lo más importante. Yo sé que él va a estrenar My Husband Is, no solo que me hable un poco del adelanto, sino cómo ha evolucionado el rol protagónico de las mujeres en tu cine.
It's because here in Latin America they are doing the games from the soccer league, the football league. So man, everybody's logging watching the soccer game. So that's why the net is terrible. But
Okay.
that's not important. The important is, what can you tell us about My Husband Is, and not only that, how do you see the evolution of you directing leading female roles, man?
Okay. My husband's ex, and then me directing women.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, My Husband's Ex was a screenplay written by David Chester, and I'm very proud of it. And it's about to come out. And I don't want to spoil it, but it has a good little story and a good message. And I'm proud of what we did. Our cast is terrific. I don't know what to say. I don't want to spoil the story, but it all works. And one of the things that we did was we have this older group of characters, and then we have a younger group of characters. And I want to congratulate our casting director, Jeff Hardwick, who found teenagers that look like the younger versions of our older characters who are, 40s, early 40s. And boy, do those kids look like our principal characters. So that was really cool to have a younger cast and an older cast where you go, okay, that's that person, and they actually look like the younger version of them. So that I was really happy about that. And we ended up shooting at two houses, and we got them back to back, right next to each other. And it's about somebody who moves in next door and does some, you know, crazy things to the current family. So that was fun to do. And, you know, and working with women. Okay. I'm kind of built for it. It's weird. And I know, maybe when I first started as a filmmaker, I thought I would be a, you know, A-list action film director or thriller director or courtroom drama director or special effects sci-fi director. I don't know. I thought I would do bigger male-driven stuff. But it actually suits me to be here and be directing women. I was raised by women. I understand their stories. I get along with women probably better than I get along with men, just out of just the fact that I'm just more comfortable around women than men in a strange, bizarre way. And so when I write for female characters, I write with my mom in mind, my sisters in mind, my aunts in mind, you know, and women I've dated and women I've loved. And their words and their emotions are in the characters that I write, as well as mine, as well as my feelings. And I'm, dare I say it, I'm fairly in touch with my sensitive, emotional, feminine side. So I think I'm able to jump into those characters and give them a strength and understand them as well as I possibly can being a male. So that's one thing, is I actually like writing for those characters. And then on set, working with women, most women are a dream for me to work with because I get along well with them and I kind of speak their language, I think. And I don't have problems with actresses. The only people I've ever had problems with have been actors, male versions, and that's not many. That's few and far between. But I never have a problem working with a woman. It's so weird. I just get along. I understand them. They understand me. I support them. They're happy to be there. They want to work. There's very little attitude, and it's kind of like they're just great. And I can't tell you if I've never had a problem with an actress, a female actor, ever. And I just like working with women. It's really weird. And there isn't a strange, kinky, weird sexual thing about it. I just get along with them well. So that's me. And I feel very at home writing and directing stories that are female driven. And I'll do them for as long as they'll let me, until they say, well, you're a guy and you can't do them anymore. Well, I'll keep doing them anyway, because I really like them.
No, I was telling you that if you agreed to get naked on your movie because a woman told you, that shows that you don't have like insecurities, that you feel comfortable working with women, because you know sometimes in the industry there are some machos like no, why no, and that shows that you really work well with women, and it's something that we need to showcase, man, because why you need some directors need to fight with women? No, they need to make the comfortable spaces. I don't know if you understand what I said, but I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you for saying that. Yeah. Okay. I agree. I try to make it as much as comfortable as possible. Yeah.
Tengo la última pregunta y es, ¿cómo define él su trabajo en una palabra?
Hey, Jhon always asks this, and it's important. Try to define your work, your career, in one word.
Uno palabra. Good Lord. Characters.
Yes.
For me, it's the characters.
I agree,
It's not the plots as much as it is the people. So I was asked recently in a podcast, actually, I was asked, how do you deal with the fact that, you know, you do 50 movies and a lot of them are they're in the same world, you know, they're domestic thrillers, female driven, mother-daughter dramas, they're intended for television. How don't you get bored with that? And I say, well, no, because each character to me is a unique person who is invented based on life experiences that I've had or life experiences that other people have had. And so I invest in my characters a great deal. And I love the actors who fulfill those characters from the script and make them come alive. So to me, the plots can sort of be regurgitated. They can be repeated. But if the characters are unique enough, what they do and how they'll do it will be the thing that I latch onto and gives me interest to keep doing these movies. I'm honestly not bored by the repetition of, say, the milieu or the setting or, you know, the thriller element to it, because the characters are unique every time out. To me, they are, at least. And so that's how I find my interest into the movie, is through the people, through the characters. So that's what I would say.
No, and that's okay, because we got the actor Anthony Cuarón, and he told us he has worked in many A-list movies, but he told us something beautiful, that the kind of movies that you make, because he has, you know, that is another part of the industry. There are many directors.
Yeah.
He said, no, there are very professional people. They're very comfortable ambience. There are very good stories. So he was like, I feel better in that kind of sets or that individual A-list movies. He told us. So, feel great to do it. And Jhon, bueno, creo que oíste, ¿no? Que lo que más le gustan los personajes, y pues se ha fajado, ¿no? Unos personajazos, ¿no?
Excelente, no, para mí.
No.
Now, do you guys make films too?
Yes, in fact, I was on my living room and on my bedroom. Sorry, the poster I got in the back is the movie that Jhon made. We live in a small city. It's called Cucuta. There are only 2 long feature films, and Jhon is the director of one of these feature films. I made yes, and I made short films, and I know Jhon created the channel because I jumped on later. For the university later as a media to teach cinema people here, but now has become a proper media about cinema and all the arts, man. And I need to tell to Jhon that, Jhon, entonces hacemos películas. Le dije que sí, que tú eres el director, solo han hecho largo en Cúcuta, tú eres el director de uno de ellos, por eso te aplaudo.
Gracias, man. Bueno, este es tu
Que
espacio,
pasártelo.
Sí, se lo pasaré.
It's a lot easier these days to make films because of the technology. You don't need a great deal of money or a big studio behind you. And so you can make them kind of anywhere in the world now, which is great. You don't have to come to Hollywood or Mumbai to do it. You can kind of do it anywhere, which is great.
Yes. And the good thing is that he shot the movie here in our city, so that's even better.
Oh, I bet.
And I hope he translated so he can share you. And we got some documentaries also. Jhon, pásale todo traducido, pásale mis cortos, pero bueno, ¿qué vas a decir, Jhon?
No, que tomemos la foto. Que las redes sociales
we are going to take a picture so we can share this interview to the social media, so please.
Dude, I would love to see your films. I would love to see your films.
Yes, I was telling Jhon that share the links. Luckily, my short films are without dialogue, so they're easy to understand.
Okay.
I don't know if Jhon translated his long feature. I know we got translated a documentary we made, so I will tell Jhon, pásale, si tienes que traducir, me dices. And the camera is yours, so you can tell your social media so people can follow you. If they need to stay focused on a project, go ahead to send a big hi. Go ahead.
Like my social media?
If you want to share it, of course.
Yeah, I have a Doug Campbell director Facebook page. That's it. And I have Instagram, and that's about it. I don't have a whole lot of that social media stuff. I probably should, but I don't. My wife tells me I should. I was like, I just have been busy. So my own damn fault. So, but thank you. I appreciate that.
No, thank you so much.
Hey, there's a movie. There's a movie on Vimeo Pro called The Hammer. Stars Michael Madsen.
Wow.
And I got to work with him for about 4 hours, and he's in the movie. And it's a movie set in Japan that I did. I wrote and directed that, and wore a lot of hats, and I edited it. And it's available for $4.99 on Vimeo Pro. It's called The Hammer. So if you tell people that would be great if they want to watch it.
I will translate. Jhon por $5, por $4.99 en Vimeo Pro, The Hammer, with Michael Madsen, dirigida por acá por nuestro amigo. Porfa, que riegues esa bola para que la gente vea esa película.
Claro que sí. No, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Muchas
Great
gracias.
weekend.
I'm honored that you would be interested. Very nice
Well,
of you.
thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Jhon is a fan.
Welcome
Biggest fan.
forever. I love your work. Fan
Ah,
number one, Colombia.
muchas gracias. I'm honored. The honor is all mine. Thank you, guys. I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Bye bye,
Thank
man.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, dude.
Hasta
Bye
God
luego.
bye.
bless you. Bye bye.
Hasta luego.
Okay.